What is up, guys? Kyle here, back with another video, and today we are taking a look at the Retractor from XS Scuba. This thing is pretty cool. So basically on the surface, it's a retractable pull cord. Think of those things that people have in offices where they keep that card on their belt with a little tiny retractor, and then when they need to use the card, they pull it out and they hit it against the whatever needs their card, and then they let it go and it sits back on their waist. Well, think of that, but for your GoPro camera. So the retractor is a lot more heavy duty enough, in fact, to retract your camera from while hanging. So basically you can keep your camera anywhere you want, and then you just let it go and it'll jump back up to wherever it's being stored. And that's kind of all the high points. That's what it is. It's designed by a scuba diving company, so it's designed to be used underwater, and it's engineered for that. So the idea here would be that you clip this little clip to your BCD, and then your GoPro camera would just kind of sit on your side, just kind of like this, and then whenever you needed it, you would just grab it, unwind it, go and shoot whatever you needed. The 32-inch retractable Spectra and nylon cord here is enough to allow you to basically get a pretty good arm's reach to basically the end of your arm. And then when you're done with your camera, you would just let it go, and it would go back and sit back on your shoulder right underneath wherever you clip this to. And then you'd never have to worry about losing it. The other place this can be really handy, and one of the places that they suggest using it, is for some sports like skydiving or anywhere where you really want access to your camera, but then you also don't want to ever have to lose it or drop it. Personally, I was thinking for something like skiing or sailing, I could see this being incredibly useful because I might want to have access to my GoPro camera, but then I also might want to be able to go back and finish doing whatever I was doing, go back to finish skiing my run, and just not have to really worry about it. One thing for sports which are not diving is that this is still a pretty long cord here, and it's not tight enough up there to keep it up if you're going over jumps. So if you're going to go skiing with this and you're going to go over a jump, it might drop out and it'll definitely bang back and forth on your chest. So while the retractor is really cool and it can keep stuff held somewhere, you can see that I can retract it, but once it gets to the end, if it didn't come up with a lot of speed, it will possibly not make it all the way up. The same kind of thing is if you go over a jump, it'll go down and then it won't quite retract all the way up. So for sports like that, well, it's great because you can pull it out, take your stuff and let it go. I would recommend using it in kind of not fully relying on it, and probably having it, once it retracts up, having something to tuck it under. Like if you were skiing with a backpack, you'd have this clip to the backpack and then maybe tuck this underneath the backpack strap, just because you don't really want it bouncing around. And also, my second complaint about this is how big this whole thing is. So the GoPro attachment, you can see, is very long, and that's done for a reason. That's a handle. So you can see that once I extend it, it turns into a handle, and it's really great to shoot with. I love a little handle like this, and it makes it way easier to get steady shots, keeps my hand off the camera, and that's great. But then that also adds a lot of stuff here, and by the time we're done, we've got a mount which is probably, well, it is over a foot long from the end of the camera to the end of the clip, and that's a lot to be swinging around. Even for sports like skydiving, that's still pretty dangerous on getting hooked on stuff. So I would have maybe loved to see this more compact, where maybe they gave you your own options of this buckle in the end, because this buckle's, again, pretty big. Maybe they came up with a smaller version of this clip here, or maybe, I'm sure we can come up with a way of DIYing a mount that just hooks directly onto this split ring here right up against the camera. So we could probably make this shorter, but I like this kind of idea, and it wasn't something I'd ever really thought of. And so when XS Scuba reached out and said, we've got this product, I was like, you know, it's pretty cool, and it is a very interesting idea of having a quick retractor on a GoPro camera. But I think for everyday use and for high action sports, it's great because you have quick access to your camera, but it isn't going to be the kind of thing that is strong enough and reliable enough and small and compact enough to keep your camera from bouncing around, and thus, even if you're using it, you're probably going to be more annoyed with it. Like because this is just like, this is a lot of camera swing to be when you're skiing or something like that. So definitely aimed at scuba diving where there's not so much impact, and because of your buoyancy in water, it's not going to be an issue as much. So I think awesome for scuba diving, and it could be interesting for the rest of us in certain situations when maybe it's being used not as a sole mounting property. And then the other thing that's cool with it here is there is a clip on the end of the retractor which allows you to unclip the mount, so the camera quick release and the retractor, into two pieces so that you can take your camera and go off and shoot without using the retractor. But like I said before, the 32-inch extension is long enough for basically my wingspan, which no one really has a larger wingspan than me. So it should be fine for you. Guys, this was a retractor. You can check it out down below in the video description. You'll find all the links you need down there. While you're down there, hit that like button. It means a lot. Leave a comment if you've got any. And if you want to learn more about what goes on, check us out on Twitter. And most of all, guys, until next time, thank you very, very much for watching.